Now, not all heroes wear capes, some wear harnesses. That's the motto of the Irish Guide Dog Association. And for one family, that statement is so true. 7-year-old Skye Jones has autism, but since Assistance Dog Yolo joined their family, their lives have been transformed. Skye's mother, Karen, joins us now to tell us more, along with Padraig Mallon, who of course you met before, CEO of the Irish Guide Dogs, to tell us about the Irish Guide Dogs Heroes Appeal. And of course, the star of the show. Well, two stars of the show. There's Skye and there's Yolo. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Now, Skye will talk to us or not, depending on her humour. She's being verbal this morning and she's excited because she's on telly. That's good. Karen, give us an idea of what life was like before you got Yolo.
It was very difficult. Our family was always separated because I have a teenage girl, I have Skye, and I have a little son. And when our little son came along, it was a little bit more difficult because I'd be trying to push a buggy and try and keep Skye beside me.
What age was Skye at that stage?
Skye was just coming up to 4 when Darren was born.
So you had a 4-year-old, which let's face it is a handful anyway, and a newborn baby.
And then I had a teenage girl as well, and she was about 14 when we got Yolo, I think. So what would happen was, so one of us would usually be on Skye, one of us would be on the baby, and Megan would be kind of there in the background trying to, help us.
Which of course it meant that you were separated because you had different duties.
Yeah, well, if my husband was in work and we were trying to go anywhere, it was very difficult for me to try and do anything with, both of the kids on my own, And
of course you feel then, obviously, Skye would require a lot of attention, and I believe she can bolt like Usain.
Yes, gone. She did it so many times. One time we found her, we live on a very busy road, it's kind of beside us, but one time we found her nearly out at the traffic lights and she had a little backpack and a swimming suit in her hand. She couldn't tell me at the time she wanted to go swimming, but that's where she was trying to go.
So she knew exactly what she wanted to do.
Yeah,
she just didn't verbalise it.
She knew exactly where she wanted to be.
Okay, so
she couldn't tell me that, and she just got out the door.
Hard work and stressful, I would imagine.
Very much so.
Okay, Yolo comes into your life, and how do things change?
Oh my God! Like the very first day that after all the training, and Aileen comes up and she guides us on how to attach properly, and the very first time she gave us the go-ahead to kind of do it alone. My husband had rang the house phone and got no answer, so he rang my mobile phone and said, "Where are you?" And I said, "We're on our way to McDonald's." And he said, "Who?" And I said, "All of us." And he said, "All of you? All of you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, that's a bit much." And I said, "No, that's what YOLO's for." And from the very first day we were given the go-ahead to attach the two together, and off we went. I took my children as one big family, and off we went, and it's been that way ever since.
You see, this is one of the things that I think people need to understand. This is one of the most mundane, ordinary things that families do. You don't even give it a second thought.
No, you don't.
But something like
Unless
this
it
for you...
happens to you, you just don't not realise how hard it is to actually just be a family when you're worried about a child who you can't take your eyes off for 1 second. You're watching, you go into a room and you're watching every exit, you're watching every possible thing that can happen, that can impact her behaviour, where she's going to go, where she's going to end up, and it's...
But look,
you're never relaxed.
Yeah, all parents know at the best of times you take your eye off them for 1 second and they're gone, right? Yeah. But in a lot of cases, particularly when they're at that age, they can go, but they can come back.
Yeah. Well, Skye hasn't the ability to get where she wants to do it safely. Yeah. She might know where she wants to go, but she has no sense of danger.
Now, did she have an instant bond with Yolo?
No, I wouldn't say it was instant. Some days Skye will take or leave him, and that's the God's honest truth. Like, you hear stories about, when they have the biggest meltdown and the dog will go and lean on them and stuff. It doesn't really happen like that all the time, and it didn't happen like that for us. But there was one time we were actually on holidays and Skye went a little bit too far in the water. Now, not that she was in deep water, the tide was out, and my husband was calling her back and she wasn't listening. And he just ran past us and ran around her and bumped her with his hip. The bond is there. It's just, it's not the same as you would see for, everybody, the way, he'd sleep with her and all that.
It's not entirely a two-way street, but it's definitely one where Yolo's concerned. Amazing, so it doesn't matter whether she can take or leave him, he never leaves her.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
It is extraordinary. I want to bring Padraig Mallon, and Padraig, we've met you before, of course, and we've heard about we know about the wonderful work that you do, but it's no harm to restate it, and this is one of the reasons why you need to go and do these fundraising things. I'm beginning to wonder whether Guide Dogs Association is a bit of a misnomer now, because everybody automatically assumes them with people who are visually impaired or who can't see. More than 50% of your dogs now are assistance dogs.
They are, Mark, and it's fantastic just to be working with people like Karen and to bring Yolo into their lives. You can see this morning just the difference that it's making. Just, I think the main thing is Karen has said that they're here. And for us, it's about, we have a skill set, we have a team of people who are staff and our volunteers who are just great at training dogs, you know, so why not use it for people other than people who are vision impaired as well too. They know us for working with people for vision impaired. We've been doing it for 40 years. About 10 years ago, we figured out that we could do this very easily for a set of people who have families of children with autism. And since then, we've trained over 350 people. There are families that are being trained even this week at our centre in Cork. And it makes such a huge difference. And I think it's just such a simple intervention, but yet it's so complicated, you know, it works so well, you know. And so we can do it. We know we've got the skill set, we've got the facility. What we have is a great level of public support for what we do. And
well, you have to have, because the truth of the matter is that it costs you about 5.2 million a year.
Yeah.
15% of that comes from the government. That's 750, right? Yeah. So that's 4.25 million a year that you've got to raise and fundraise.
It's about 80 grand a week, Mark, you know, which is what we got to work every week to actually do. We do two things every week. We work with training dogs. And I think Skye says it better, really.
I think most people actually understand what guide dogs do.
Yeah.
The difference between a guide dog and an assistance dog and the level of training or the difference of training that's required.
Well, very much at the beginning, it's very much the same. They're all born, you know, as pups. They're raised as pups by our volunteer puppy walkers, and then at about a year to a year and a half, we start to think about them in terms of a particular skill set that the dog might have. Because it's a very involved piece of work in guiding a blind or vision impaired person down O'Connell Street or Patrick Street in Cork. This is a different skill set in working with a child like Skye, you know. So our trainers pick that out in the dog. It's for us the real skill is in matching.
It's effectively down to the dog's intelligence and intuition, isn't it?
The way the dog works, the particular traits that the dog has, his physical capacity, his or her physical capacity, its ability, its suitability to work in this situation. And our trainers pick that out, our volunteers are part of it as well. And you start to think about the dog, and then the training just moves away a little bit, and we start to think specific skills for working with the vision impaired person and specific skills for working with a child like Skye. So, and we build that training in about 2 years, as Karen said, people come to our training centre in Cork, world-class facility for training with a guide dog or an assistance dog. And then from there, it's about the support that we give them afterwards. And our people, Karen mentioned Aileen, who's available to Karen literally, you know, 7 days a week to support them and work in the home. So all of that comes together for us in a way that, you know, it's unique for Irish guide dogs that we can provide both services.
We're one of the leaders in Europe in this, aren't we?
We were the first organisation in Europe to bring this, Mark, you know.
And by the way, in terms of the demand, when you announced that you were going to do this,
we were full within about a half an hour, and because one in every 100 children somewhere on the autism spectrum, even as a result of this morning, people are going to see this and say, you know, I have a child with autism. This would be suitable for me. So our demand goes that way. We're working flat out, really, to try to breed and train the best dogs to bring them through, so that we can train more and more families every year.
And it costs you about what, 38, 40 grand to do?
Yeah, it does, even more actually, Mark. You know, we use that as a really notional figure that we can communicate. But really, for us, it's about raising that money. This is a very, very important week for us. We're celebrating heroes. The heroes are the dogs. The heroes are our volunteers. The heroes are our clients like Karen. And the heroes are our people who are going to go out this week and raise funds for us. And
well, look, you can very simply, you can get onto the Irish Guide Dogs Association, make a donation. You can also just buy a badge, which we have here. They're €3. Actually, very snazzy, stylish badge. And you'll see people all over the place.
Or text Wolf, Mark, to 50300. €4 goes to us.
I'm going to try and give the last word to Skye. I don't know whether she'll talk to me or not. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. Hi, Skye. What, Skye, do you love Yolo?
Yes, and that is what I like.
How much do you love Yolo?
I love to play this game.
Do you love him up to the sky and back again?
Yes, we're going to get away and I get so much better.
Do you love him as much as you love Born?
She said he makes it so much better.
I have to do more this as a baby. And this baby born. Yes, it's her life. It's baby born. It's her life. And going to silly and service for the stars from everybody's getting ready to stars. And we got a little sorry baby boy.
Well, I didn't think we'd get the last word over, but we did. Just one last question to you, Karen. Could we have done this interview without Yolo?
Probably not. Her anxiety probably would have been too much.
Well, there you go. At that price, 40 grand seems cheap.
Can I just say, though, what Pádraig is saying about the heroes. For families like us, Irish Guide Dogs, the whole organisation, they're the heroes. Made life so much easier for us.
Well, we're delighted. We're delighted to meet you. I love your shoes, by the way.
Yes.
I want to know where I can get a pair of those. Listen, God bless. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
very much.
Listen, if you see the Guide Dog people out, you just know that it's one of those charities that we should all be supporting, and they need 5.2 million a year. Most of it has to come from us. So if you have it, give. Now, still to come shortly, we're going to be joined by two of the stars from Red Rock, and at 8:45, food activist Ross Golden Bannon will be taking a look at different foods from different cultures ahead of Easter.